Hey guys, Jessica here. So today we're going to talk about a pump that is on social media that I'm getting lots of questions about, and that is the Olivia pump. So we have lots to discuss in this video because there is a lot of things I think you should consider before deciding if you want to invest in this new pump from a new company that is no company we actually know of. There are a lot of things I want you to think about before you make this purchase. I don't actually dislike the pump. The pump itself it's okay. It has really good cycle speeds. It has decent suction. It topped off at about 230, 240 on my suction gauge. It was a little hard to get like the most accurate readings. It does have this nice sloped flange. This is a shallow profile pump, which means we have a very short tunnel, but it did handle inserts that are similar to what we get on Amazon or from Lactation Hub. So it's just long enough to meet most people's needs. The tunnel length, while it's shallow, it's not the worst. It is better than a lot of the other options we see out there with a shallow profile in terms of length. So it's advertised as having a 7 ounce capacity. I will say when I tested it, I could only get about 6 ounces in it before it starts to exceed a reasonable point. So but 6 to 7 ounces, that's still a really good capacity on each side. The average mom is actually only pumping 2 to 5 ounces is what I typically see combined. So 7 ounces on each side should be golden for a lot of moms. For our oversuppliers, it is one of the bigger ones. It's gonna be right up there with your Willow Go, which has that 7 ounce capacity. So that is something to consider. It has 4 different modes. It has a traditional stimulation, a traditional expression. It has a mixed mode, which is 9 short pulls and 1 long pull, which is actually unique. This pump does not use high pressure on that long pull. So it's only about 150 mmHg. It actually reminds me of the Zomi Z2 in terms of the way that that long pull feels. So it is longer. It's going to help stimulate the letdown reflex, but it's not super aggressive. And it has an automatic mode where it just raises the pressure every couple of seconds. I don't think a lot of people are going to really need that. It's not really going to be the right solution for most people because very few people need to just raise the pressure in the beginning and then stay stable. But you do have quite a few options, and each of those levels had 12 different suction levels to choose from. You are dealing with a pump where your cycle speeds and your suction are paired, which is going to be common for most wearables and portables these days. But it does give you a little bit less flexibility. But with 12 different levels, most people are going to find a setting on this that works for them. Now, that said, the inserts in this pump do go all the way back to this diaphragm, which means if you have more elastic tissue and you're going to get to the end of your insert, you're not necessarily going to be at any risk of nipple damage, but it is a little bit uncomfortable. It has a little bit of like a sharp popping feeling when your nipple is that close to the diaphragm as it collapses because it's creating a kind of like a secondary little vacuum that doesn't always feel really good. The suction on this is not the smoothest that I've ever seen by far. I would say it's actually on the sharper side. It reminds me of a slightly more aggressive Pumpables Super Genie. And I say that as somebody who really likes the Super Genie, but it is kind of an aggressive suction pattern. It has a very sharp feeling to it, so that's not going to be for everybody. Again, it tops out about 230 or 240. So for my moms who are, diehard higher level baby Buddha users, higher level on your Spectre, your Spectre Synergy Gold, this is not likely to be the pump for you. It's not likely to get the pressure you need. It's relying on really fast cycle speeds and lower suction in order to elicit the letdown. Now, here's really where my concerns come in. It does come with a lot of accessories, but the price point, it's listed at $287 on their website. When I purchased it, there was like a 20% off coupon, but they're not there consistently. So we're going to go with $287 is the price of this pump. And I would say you're overpaying at $287. This is not the most refined design. If this company is going to be a legit pump company and this is their first iteration, they did a pretty good job for their first iteration. And if they are able to get enough traction and do some redesigns, this pump has potential. But as it stands right now, it's a little overpriced for what it is. You do get 5 different sizes of inserts with it. So it's a 24 flange and you get a 21, 19, 17, and 15. But the 15 and the 17 are a different brand of insert than their 19 and the 21. Everything about the accessories with this felt kind of like a little hodgepodge of things that they just stuck in these little bags. The actual parts are kind of a pain in the butt. I would not necessarily want to be dealing with this very often. If you're somebody who fridge hacks, you might decide that only having to assemble and disassemble once a day is tolerable for you. If you're somebody who doesn't fridge hack, this may not be for you because it's kind of a pain in the butt. It has this weird silicone plug up here. And at first I thought it was because they're advertising it as leak free. Like maybe this is how they're advertising it, but then there's a hole right here. So I don't claim to be a rocket scientist, but you can't advertise it as leak free if it has a air hole where it can easily leak. That is where you're going to pour your milk from. If you bend over, milk is going to flow there. If you're up at the higher levels and you're moving around, milk is going to come out of here. So that's deceptive marketing. So it's overpriced. I'm a little concerned about the accessories that are coming as like a hodgepodge. We got some faulty advertising right here. They say that it's easy to clean. No, this is kind of a pain in the butt. This flange, I'm going to take this off for you, but I'm not putting it back on this video because it's a pain. What you have is this little double lip. So let's see if I can actually show you. So see how there's two rims here? You have to get those two rims separated and around this. And you also have to make sure, because of the way the design is, you have to get it perfectly lined up here. I played with this thing for several days and I still had to keep assembling and disassembling, and it didn't appear to get any better because it's not necessarily going to be like muscle memory and a learning curve. That's a design flaw. So you've got this piece, you're going to have to pull this little plug out. They did send some extra plugs, but I guarantee you that that piece is not going to last any amount of time in my house. There is a duckbill, but it literally just fell off the pump as I'm doing it because it's not a super secure setting. There's nothing to hold it there, which means I don't know that this would do very well with a fridge hack. I tried some fridge hacking with it. I couldn't tell if it was going to work or not. You've got a diaphragm. This is not a diaphragm like I see on any other pump, so you're going to be locked into their proprietary parts. And then you've got this flange, but nothing goes together quite as easily as it should. And when you go to reassemble it, there's lots of things that have to be very exact and would be very easy to mess up and cost yourself suction or potentially have a leak. My other concern, I ordered this directly from the company, and I order parts from all different companies. And something happened that really stood out to me. The box that arrived, I didn't think it was the Olivia pump that arrived because it was actually just a random box that whoever is shipping these pumps repurposed. But the box holding my pump doesn't have safety seals. It's very flimsy. You can see it. So my medical equipment came in this box that came ripped inside of a box that the seller had repurposed. Maybe they were just recycling, but that is not an industry standard. When I order a pump at $200 some, I expect decent packaging. If you want to send me crappy packaging, please make your price point under $100, so where I'm like, well, you get what you pay for. At $200 and some, it didn't feel right. I didn't have any indication that this pump was used. It still had all the stickers on it, anything like that. But it gives me pause about who is actually selling this pump. I can't figure out who the actual company is. Olivia Pump is a brand new brand. They only appear to be on social media for the most part. It seems to be where they're advertising. I don't have anything that suggests FDA approval, so I can't compare the pump to those stats on this. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a concern. At this point in time, even though I like the program the pump is running, I think it has a lot of potential. At this point, I would struggle to tell a mom that she should spend her hard-earned money on this pump because I don't know that we're going to get warranty coverage. I don't know that this is a real company. This could literally be a pop-up who bought a bunch of products from a factory in China, is going to send them out to moms, and when they die, they may be nowhere to be found. It happens. We see it on Amazon all the time. They seem to be trying to pull a little bit higher price point with a little bit better advertising than some of these cheap Amazon pumps, but I don't have anything that suggests that this is a reputable company. There's just lots of little red flags. So do I hate the pump? No, I actually kind of like it. It's got a little bit of potential. Do I think it's worth money? No, I really don't. I really, really don't. I think if this was priced down at 100, 150, I might have a different opinion, but at above 200, you are better off at $287. You can go buy a Willow Go. You can go buy a Baby Buddha with cups. You can go buy a Pumpable Genie Advance. You can buy any cup on the market you want to go with these pumps. You can buy a Zomi Fit. You can buy a reputable brand from a company that's going to stand behind their pump that is going to be a little bit less experimental, a little bit less of a gamble, and a whole lot more certainty involved in it. So that's just my 2 cents on this. At this point, I don't hate it. If you already bought it, we can probably work with it. We'll see how it's going, but realistically, our options are going to be kind of slim. It's going to have a failure rate for a lot of people based on the suction levels, that sharpness. It may just not work for them. Those faster cycle speeds mean other people may have a really good experience with it. And if the company is legitimately just a startup and they're getting going, then they may honor their warranty. These concerns may be completely unfounded. But the startup companies who intend to honor warranties don't have as many red flags, and their marketing tends to be extremely, extremely accurate and truthful because they're trying to gain our trust. So right out of the bat, I'm just not sold on this. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts below, and I am happy to discuss or test anything with this pump. And if you're using it, let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know how it's going because I'd love to hear it. Like I said, if this is a legit company and this is our first iteration, I have high hopes for, the second and third generation of this pump. But for this one, I'm just not sold on it. I think you can spend your money elsewhere and get a little bit better situation for yourself. So hope that helps and happy pumping.